Okay, this is where I'm at. I'm at the edge here, and I decided I would start tearing it instead of cutting it, so you're not going to get to see how I cut this time. But I do want you, if you have questions, if you want me to teach you something more, then I'll try and teach it little bits and pieces of while I'm doing more rugs. So this piece, so what I do is I do take off some of the fray as I go along. And then I pull that all the way down, which I'm not going to do that completely while I'm talking to you. I'll just pull some of it. And then I toss and throw that part away. And I'm going to leave it like that for now because I just want to show you. And so what I'll do is that I have decided that I am going to make it about the width of this ruler. And like I said before, this ruler width is about 1.5. I think it's just shy of 1.5. Oops, excuse me. Yeah, it's just a little over 1.5 actually. And you, like I said, you decide how wide you want yours. And I'm actually measuring along the edge of the fabric, and then I start the cut. And I just tear it. Now this one is harder to tear than the sheet was. And then I also trim the edge here. So sometimes I'll trim it, sometimes I'll forget, and then I'll go back and trim it later. But do it in any order you like. Like I said, you can do this whole fabric if you want, if you feel like you're going to use it. I'm just trying to go a little closer, but sometimes at the end I'll cut it because when I get too close to the edge, sometimes I'll just all of a sudden tear it and I might not want to tear it. Sometimes I'll show you how I start mine, because this is the same way I start when I do a magic circle. And all I do is I have this here, I cross it over. When you cross it over, the hole here, you take it and you grab the length of your yarn, okay? And you actually do this, I do the same thing. And I do leave a little bit because I want to be able to tuck it in and use it. And then after I do that, I grab this. And remember, don't go too tight. And how do I measure? I'm going to do an oval rug, not a round rug this time. And I'm going to I just crochet it. Now, because I did this before, it's actually folding in half for me right at this spot. Some spots it does that, some spots it doesn't. And the reason I'm folding it as half is, let me show you the opposite side. See, the opposite side doesn't have, and I want the orange and brown to show, not the white. You know, this is up to you, what you like. Just make sure that when you do this, don't do it too tight nor too loose. You got to make even things. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to just show you the beginning of what I do, and then I'm gonna finish it off all on my own. But I do want to show you how I start them and the things I think about. You know, I told you I think about the thickness. I actually practice it before I finish cutting all of my yarn because I want to make sure that my project is going to come together well, and it's easy for me to use this needle for. I don't like it to be hard for me to use. So one of the things I do is that you can, if you want a nice oval rug, I don't know the exact size you should make it, but what I've been doing is I've been making it from 10 to 11, 12 inches long, and that's where I start at. And so I need a few more. Okay. And all you do is for an oval rug, you basically chain like that. And then what I do is I hold on to that last chain is right here, right? That's right here. And I chain one more up again, and then I chain into here. Now that means when I first start, you need to go and watch other experienced rug makers, because I am a freestyle artist and I just kind of just go with the flow. But I will give you a beginning start. I put one in there. We're going to go this way, and then we're going to go around again. And then I put 2 in here. This is the place I like to mark in the beginning. I usually kind of don't mark it when, you know, when I get further on. I just kind of use my eye. So I know I put 2 in here, and I know when I finish, this is my finishing point, and then I'm gonna put 2 when I come around. We're gonna go all the way around. We're gonna go around this way. We're gonna put 4 in this end, and then we're gonna also put 2 more over here, and then we'll close it up. And then later on, as I keep on going, I start going in around. I don't really count, or, you know, I just keep on going. For this end, what I like to do is, since it's the first, I'm sticking my tail in there upward, so I can use it to see that this is my last stitch. When you put a lot of stitches in, sometimes that happens. So here's this stitch here, and then this one is my reminder. You can use what you like, but that's what I do. So then I'll go all the way around. So this is going to be long. I'm going to just show you the stitches I make as I go around. I'm doing the stitches. Now, a lot of time, okay, I'm almost towards the end of that first section, and I go in here. This is where I placed the tail, and I'm going to go right over the tail just to reinforce it anyways. And I'm going to end up hiding that tail later, but right now I'm just using it as a guide. And so I'm going to put 2 in here, and I'm going to kind of let me show you. I'm going to see, here's the knot of when we first began. I'm going to try and put 2 on this side and 2 on this side. So, you know, whenever you have to increase when you're going in a circle or even in an oval, the pattern I use is I just kind of go and then I put 2 after this. After first time I do it, I've been putting 4 or 3, depends on how it comes out, but this time I was doing it and I liked how 4 came out, and I'm putting 2 more in that same last. There's 1. Because I'm going around, and that's how the oval is formed. Okay, so there I am. That's the last one. I did 2 on this side, 2 on this side of that little knot. And as you can see, the white is showing. If you don't like it, you can undo it. I'm going to put 1 more back in. Try to be more careful not to. I'll usually do this. So when I put it on, I'm trying. It twists, so it's hard, unless you can also fold it in half. So you'll find that sometimes it folds in half easily, and sometimes, you know, it still did the same thing. Oh well, not a big deal. It's a rag wreath, and you can see it looks like a rag wreath. You could see all the frays in there. And then now we're going to go back the other way. I'm just adjusting this so that it starts folding in half, because I do want most of the orange to show. Okay, so now I'm going to go all the way. So now we had that center chain, and then we went around once, and then we're going to go around again. And what I learned when I was doing this is that when I did another rug, I had I don't think I showed that one to you. I had 2 different things, 2 different kinds of materials. One was jersey, one was cotton, and I was using them together. And since the jersey was a little more stretchy, I felt that it started bubbling in the middle, and I realized that what the reason was is because I think for my solution was I'm going to use sturdy in the beginning, and I'm going to do a whole round. I mean, all the way around with the most sturdy one that I have, and this is more sturdy than the other one. And the other one's a cotton or cotton blend sheet. This one is a decorator strap. I would say this is a fabric that you might use for a pillow or curtains or drapes. It's not like the real thick one that you might put on your like for your couch or anything like that. It's not that thick, but it's a pretty sturdy fabric. Okay. All right, so that's why I brought you all the way around and talking about it, because I want you to understand why I'm doing the whole round with the first choice I chose, because normally I would most likely want to have that beige in the middle, and not this one, but I chose this one because I know it's a little sturdier, it's much better. Okay, I'm almost to the end. I guess I'll leave this in my recording because I'm almost there. And I want to show you how to do this, and then I'll come back a couple of rounds after, because after this round I'm going to change colors. Okay, so here I go. Now, right here is where I have, you can put, I don't know what those things are called, but it's my marker to show me that this was, I had made 2 in this section. I'll make 2 on this side, on this one. You can see I'm going to take this and fold it in half to help it to show the orange. Whenever I learn something, I want you guys to not just stick with me, but I want you guys to go and Google, or on YouTube, just search rag rugs, and I want you to watch the other teachers, because I am not an original teacher, but one of the reasons I enjoy teaching is because everyone learns differently, and I'm just a different teacher. So there might be something I grasp when I first began learning something or teaching myself something. I learn a lot from other YouTubers. So here we go. This is the first big old round. We haven't connected it yet, but remember we put 4 on this one and we put 4 on this one. And now I'm going to see if I find the end. Here's the end of my other fabric. So here's the beige fabric. And I'm going to stick this, I'm going to connect this with the slip stitch, but when I do the slip stitch, I'm going to slip in this fabric. This is how I do it. Oops. And then I'm just going to twist it this way. Some people actually make it, okay, I just connected it like that. This is still kind of loose. When I put in this one stitch, it's going to connect. But before I do that, I like to make this sturdy, make sure that this is not loose when I start first, and then I do 1, and then I make it tight. That's what I do. Now, then I go in and I start with 1. Now this is just how I'm doing it. If you connect things differently, if you're a seasoned crocheter, you can do it differently, then do it differently. And this is actually, I'm going to put my little thing in here. I have, remember we put 2 on this side and 2 on this side. I'm just going to tie right there. Okay. So here's the 2, 1, 2, and here's 1, 2. So this is actually the center part. So I'm not going to put 2 in the center one. I'm going to put 2 on the next one, because remember we're all right. If you hear a lot of noise, it's because I'm doing these videos when I'm downstairs with my family. So that's what happens. So here we are at the end. This is almost like the center, and here's the last one again. I'm going to put 2 here. And when I go around, if you can see, this is laying pretty flat, so it's okay so far. And then I'm going to go and do this one. Now, if I do this one, and when I go around to do 2 on this one, and it seems like it's too tight and it's curling up, then I'll do 2 here. But I'm going to first try 2 here and see what happens, so I could follow the same pattern. So if you see it start to curl, what you do, if it curls up, like it becomes like a bowl. Let me show you what I mean by a bowl. So you can see it's becoming like a bowl right here. So this side, look at how it looks kind of pretty flat. But if you come over here, and I'm going to show you, it's starting to look like a bowl. Let's compare them both. You can see it's starting a bowl. I would add 2 in that center one too. Oops, right there. And this one. And then as I keep going, you know, you're using different types of fabrics together. So, you know, feel like if it looks tight, it's starting to bowl and cup. If it cups, kind of like when you're making a hat, that's what you do to start making it form, is you stop increasing so it starts going forward like that. Okay, I kept on going, and I do see that I can do this, and it's still flat on this side now. And over here, I'm nearing the end to add it back in, but I wanted to stop here because I saw that I have one of the edges that I made, and I rounded it off, and I wanted to show you how it just blends right in. There, like that. So this one happened to go right into the knot. You can't really tell that I connected the fabric. Okay, and then I'm just going to continue going, and here's, I had my string on this one, just as a, I'm not going to put the string on anymore because that's how I work. If you want to keep on putting the markers on, you can, but I don't. What one I do keep is this one, because I know this is like the beginning of where I started increasing and stuff, so I know that I want to end along here somewhere. So over here I can decide, do I want to put 2 in here and 1 more in here? I'm going to test it and see. I'm going to put 2 in here. So now, from now on, I kind of guesstimate. I don't, there are other teachers that are much more experienced than I am, who have different styles, and they will tell you exactly how many to put, but that's not me. I kind of just play it by, you know, how it looks to me. Let me put those scissors over there. So look, you can see that it's laying flat like that. I think I'm going to go ahead and put 1 more in here. Okay. Because we're going to be connecting these 2, and then that'll keep it flat. So the key to this is that when you're doing it, you want to always test each row. So lay it on something flat without manipulating it or stretching it. You can stretch them, you know, if you need to, if you want to try stretching it a little bit to get those knots a little tighter, that's fine, and it could help it to just make sure it's lying flat. But that's the most important thing, is that it's lying flat. Now this is very thick, like compared to this one I told you was very thin. I thought it was too thin when I made this one, but I thought it would be beautiful for the background because the other tablecloth I had on there was distracting. So now this is what I do. Now you can do it different. If I'm doing only one, you know, doing every other color, then I usually just flip it around. And I left it connected, the orange one, and I'm going to just pull it up, and I'm going to start using this. So I'm just pulling it up towards me, and I'm going to connect here, the beige section. That hole is kind of tight, but the beige is going to go down. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do 2 rows of the orange and 1 row of the beige, but as I go, and I'm more likely to, if I'm doing 2 rows, I'm more likely to cut. I retightened that one. And we're going to go through, all the way through, and retighten that one. It's important that this one is snug. I make it snugger than I do my other stuff. I even retighten it again. And then I go back and I add 1. I'm going to flip this because I want the orange to show. So when you first start the new color, yes, you have to manipulate it a little bit. And then once you're in a groove, there you go. So that's my first one. It's right at the top of the thing. Now, in future, as you keep on going, when you come like right here, I'll probably increase right here because this is kind of going flat. And the higher you increase, the squarer your oval will be. Your oval will become more squared. So you can keep an eye on it, and I stagger where I increase. I don't keep it the increase exactly the same place. You can if you want, but it will kind of weaken those areas more than strengthen them. It can be, especially if you're going to do a pattern and you want to do a pattern like when you do a pattern for a granny square or something like that. Okay, right here, I decided on the side one, I'm going to do 2. I keep grabbing that because I'm folding it in half. You can see right there I missed one, which is okay. So I put 2 in there, and now it turned it around. See, now I'm going to go all the way over, and then over here on this end I can decide where I'm going to put my 2. So you would put 2 on this side, 2 on this side. That's the increase as you're going around the circle. 2 on this side, 2 on this side, the increase as you're going around the circle. Like I said, you can stagger them. Like I could see here's where I put 2, and I'll probably put 2 there, 1 there. I could put 2 there if I want. This will make, if you put the 2 at the tip, I learned that it gets pointier at the tip. So I'd rather put them on the sides, either here or here too. The same on here, either here or here. And you'll see as you keep on going that it will shape. So I'll come back in a moment. Okay, my light is almost running out, and I'm almost ready to put my son to sleep. So I'm going to try and teach this last bit. I thought I taught it, and it didn't record, so I just undid it. So I'm near the end with the first row of orange, and when you come to here, if you look at the beige, you can see this is the center. Then it has 2, 1, and then here and here. So you can choose to do 2 here or 2 here. And I think I'm going to do, for me, it's based on how it seems to be shaping up. I really think that if you need exactness, then you need to go find another teacher, because I am no expert teacher. I'm just teaching you as I've been learning, because I got a lot of questions. I was getting a lot of questions in the groups I was in that enjoy rug making. And I'm going to put 2 in this one. Okay. And then 1 here. I probably will not put 2 here again. Oh, I did want to mention, here's the rounded edge. And when I do a rounded edge, I kind of fold it when I start so I can make sure. The beige, you don't have to do that mess with it. And then I'm going to put 2 in the next one, because to me that's what it needs. 2. Okay. All right, then I'll go all the way down again. Okay, I'm back, and I went ahead and I completed that first row, and then I went ahead and completed a second row. But I did want to mention a couple of things that I forgot to say. Remember when we added a center one on one side? I never added it on the second side. So you got to make sure if you add an extra one on one side, you should probably add it on the other side, because that'll make your rug be a little more even as you go around. And I continued every single row. I'm adding 2 increases on each side, or a total of 4 increases. So I add 1 on this side, 1 on this side, 1 on this side, and 1 on this side. And I explained to you how I add them. I love the shape that this one is taking right now, so I'm adding it at just about the right area. But one thing I do want to mention, that I went ahead and cut off the beige, and I'll have to tuck this in. And the reason I do is because I decided to go ahead and add 2 rows of the orange and brown, and then I'll add 1 more row of this next. So now I did this is the second row, but when I started the second row, this time I did mark my very first stitch. Why? Because it's hard to see the very first stitch. So if I was going to continue on, and I had not added the marker, I might have finished it right here, because it's easier to see when you're using 2 different colors. You know, there's this color, then this color, then this color, but when the colors are the same, it is more difficult to see it. So when I connected for the next row, I added, on the first stitch, I added a marker. So this time I'm not going to need it, because I'm going to be adding that beige back in. So this could all be avoided, or basically if you are new, your first stitches, you should try and do this to add a thing. So I already put 2 on this side, and now I had added 2 here. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish this. Oh, one more thing I did want to tell you. I know I told you about that I'm folding this in half, but sometimes when you keep on going, your fabric just starts turning. And if it turns like this, where all the right side is showing, you see it's all brown. Well, yeah. But then over here, look at the orange. It's wrong. So I will take the time to, before I start adding the next color, I will actually untwist this. I'll take the rug and I'll actually just spin it, but you could take the fabric and spin it. And it's just something I run into. And so I'm going to finish this off now that I told you that. Oops, this is coming out beautiful. I love the look of it. Yeah, I already added the 2. So I'm going to stitch this up. I'll go ahead and walk you through my adding the other kind. Can you see it's twisting the wrong way? But I did take out a lot of those twists. So hopefully I can get it to fold now. Remember, whenever you're starting the end and you're coming up, make sure you twist it again. So that's where I'm at. And then this is the end of my row where I marked it. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to end my row right here. Actually, I'm not going to end my row right there. I need to add my other color, right? This is my last stitch, so I'm going to add my other color back in. I'm going to go ahead and fold this when I do it. And this is how I add it. That's the last one there. Show you this one more time. I pull it through. You can start the knot if you want. I don't. I just make sure that I tighten it up and overlap it when I'm going to add this stitch in. This is the stitch that'll lock it in place. And I make this stitch tight because I end up adding, and then I make sure that I tighten this one also. make it. And what that does is it makes it smaller and joins it all together so that this looks like a completed row, and this one's going to look like a whole new row. And when I actually go in and, oh, I'm going to put that piece up so I can grab that, put that underneath. Okay. And now this is my first stitch. So if you were going to mark your stitches, that's the first stitch. So that's where I would mark it. I find that I don't need to mark that stitch because, like I said, it's easy to see it when you're changing colors. So now, again, you're going to decide where to put your 2 in, and I'm going to put this one in the same place here, I think. If I start going and it starts looking strange, then I can make some adjustments as I go. If I run into any adjustments, I'll come back on and show that to you, but pretty much in this meantime, I'm going to be going all the way around, and I'm going to come back. And if there's anything else I need to show you, I'm going to go around, and then I'm going to go back to this color again and do 2 rows of that color again. And, you know, just keep on going. But when there's something important to tell you, I'll try and come back on. And forgive all my lighting because I'm doing this downstairs where I don't usually do my teaching. This is just, you know, what I do when I'm not in my craft room. So that's why I'm showing it to you. All right.